Hey, Mayor. Richard.
Okay. I'm going to call the special meeting of the Harlem City Commission, which is duly posted to order. And go to citizen communication input. Is there any tonight?
I did not receive no comments.
All right, no one signed up, so there's no citizen communication. Go to item 1, consideration of possible action on the evaluation process of the performance audit proposals.
Can I speak now or
What?
maybe it's to speak now on the subject?
Speak now for everybody.
The reason I wanted to call this meeting is I want to know what you all wanted to do as far as picking the firms. I know everybody's got a packet. And since the city's not ranking them, I want to know if you all had a chance to look at the packets. Who do you want? How do you want to do it? Do you want to do it through Zoom? Do you want to interview the top 2, 3 candidates that you want? But I think it's important that we make some kind of decision and try to pick somebody and get started. No, I thought both of you. Frank's not here yet. Frank's on his way. I mean,
What do you have anything to add?
I'm still trying to go through this myself, so I haven't had a real chance to call these people up to see if, you know, and I have certain questions as well. I guess my number one question is, what is the main target, the main focus, the scope of this? See, I need a little bit more time to go through this and say, this is the firm that, or 1, 2, 3, rank them myself, compare them, and by the same token, try to determine what particular avenue or what particular item are they going to look at? Because my number one concern across the board is how can we not save the citizens, save the city money? Because it's always, to me, it's always been about drainage. We need lots and lots of funds for drainage. Okay, so I don't want to go in a fishing expedition. Okay, I want to stay focused and say, this is where we have an issue. We give whomever we choose the exact target,
right.
okay, and say, this is what you're gonna look at, this is what we're looking, and then take from there. But right now, before I can even get to that, I know we're looking at trying to just determine which ones, which of the 1, 2, 3, 4, which of these 6 we're looking at. I mean, I can give you 3 right now, but I haven't been able to say, this is the one I really think that we need to go to, because I still want to focus on exactly what we're going to ask them to do. It's a tough endeavor.
Have you had a chance to look at, if you go online and you look at our city website, one of the things that's posted on there is the checks that we write, right? That's
So what?
the checks that we write, that the city writes out.
Okay,
It's a public record, right? It's on our website. And I believe it's still on there, right? So if you ever looked at a bank statement, and it's basically our bank statement, right? And when I look at the bank statement, I start seeing, things, I have questions, right? There's several transactions that I have issues with of saying, why are we paying X amount of dollars to either one individual or one entity? And it's always a constant, it's $5,000, $6,000, whatever the amount is that I have questions on, right? And as you keep going through that bank statement, because any health of any business, you look at it, bank statement's going to tell you everything, what comes in and out of that bank statement, right? So when I start looking at draws or payables of what we're signing, and I agree with 100%, I'm not a big favor of wasting money or spending money. But to get answers to those questions of saying, why are we writing checks out to X, Y, and Z? And are those services being provided? Are they necessary services? Then that's one aspect, right? That's one thing, our ledger, our
Okay.
bank statement. Number two is the way we conduct business, right? And I can take any, there's a lot of, to run the city, it's a lot, right? But I'll give you one example. The way we handle our request for when we budget items and say we're gonna send somebody on a trip, right? Let's say somebody's got our expense accounts. That's the
Okay.
word, right? The expense accounts. If we have a budgeted item and it's, let's say we agree as a commission, you know what, we're gonna send these guys to this class on whatever date for training. But then we go, and we've been a part of it, and I don't think you've had a chance to take a trip yet, right?
Just one.
But you gotta use your credit card, and then they gotta authorize it, and you gotta do it. And it's a lot of red tape, right? For something that's already been budgeted. One of the thoughts I had, and I think what other cities do is, each director has a credit card and it's a limit on it. And if it's a budgeted item, they pay for it, they get reimbursed, or they show it. There's gotta be a simpler way, right? Because all those steps cost money, okay, and time. And so when we can't keep, we talked about the golf course and keeping that stocked. We don't streamline that with this or that thing to be able to say, look, you just go purchase it. Here's what, it's already been approved and you go through it, right? There's gonna be aspects that I want this firm or whoever we hire to look at and say, what are we doing well and what are we not doing well? What are we doing double work on? What are we, how is it that we can save money? And then the accountability. When I get, I've had calls, and I don't like anonymous calls, right? But maybe you've already gotten them where, all right, there's been work done to a certain engine and it didn't exist, but then we paid a company X amount of dollars to do this work order and it doesn't exist. That's called like phantom invoicing, right? That doesn't work for me. The only way to get that out is you go look for it. You got to make sure that that's not happening, right? That we are accountable to our thing. One of the biggest things I learned when we have like Long Chilton or Cards, whatever entity they are now, you ask them, hey, you did an audit on this? Oh, yes, but it's on information we provided them. It's an unaudited version of an audit, which means they're not going to back it up and say, you know what? No, I saw the numbers, I saw the check, and yes, that service did get provided, and it was provided on this date, and this date. Okay, it's all about verification, verifying what's there. When I get phone calls and saying, our fueling station is an open checkbook to everybody. Everybody goes and fuels up and they're fueling up personal cars and there's all this kind of crap going on. I'd like to know if that's true or not, right? Everything, I'm assuming we have a key, but then there's a master key and then everybody has a master key and it doesn't get logged in. That they should go in, fuel, they should push in the unit number, the mileage and so on and so. And then that way you can go back and look at every single vehicle and you can go back and say that patrol car or that service truck or this, whatever. Yeah, I can see them using that many mileage on a given because of their job. Right, but when we don't have an answer for that or an accounting person, that's an issue. So I'd like to get those answered. Okay, so that's two. But again, the bigger thing I'd like to hear from whoever we want to hire is what is their experience in going out, because this is what they do. And I think they can best answer, this is what we do best, this is what we find, this is what was going to save you X amount of dollars, and here's what we can do a quick turnaround, here's going to take a little bit more time, this is our experience, right? And I like to go, I think, with the most experience or whoever answers that the best and is prepared the best to answer those questions, to say, yeah, I think that's going to be our best value for what we're trying to accomplish. Okay.
So in a nutshell, you already have a specific area you want.
No, that's a pretty much general idea of what I'm looking at. When I'm saying, okay, we're getting a $40,000 bill at the municipal court. What was that bill for? And I'm being told the attorney shows up one day out of the week, makes phone calls for 1 hour, and that's what we got billed for. I want to make sure is that accurate or not. You know, is that
Got it.
good information? You know? So again, you could pick apart any department or whatever. I think us as a board, when we discuss it with whoever you want to hire, I think they'll be able to best tell us, this is the meat and bones of it, and this is what we should focus, this is what most entities are looking for.
Well, Commissioner Morales, I think he makes some very good points, and I would agree with him. I think that, number one, this meeting was called very hurriedly, and maybe everyone did not have enough, as much time as they would have wanted to review the responses before they can make a decision. I don't know. I did spend part of my Labor Day weekend reviewing them because I wasn't sure what was going to happen at this meeting or what even the purpose of the meeting was. That's number one. And number two, I think you're absolutely right to suggest that we have to narrow the scope or define the scope. Because I'm sure if you read through these responses, you'll see that they basically have a menu of items, or you'll see that on internal audits that they have done previously, they really have focused only on certain departments. For example, the McConnell Jones firm from Houston, they've done a lot of work for the city of Houston, but they list about 8 different internal audits that they've done. So they haven't done a general audit, they do departmental audits. Same thing for the Baker Tilly firm in Austin. They have basically a menu of audits on page 20 that you would select from. And so one of the things that we're going to have to figure out is how much this is going to cost us. So if you're going to do one department, it's going to be X. If you're going to do 20 departments, it's going to be X times 20. And that's got to be, you know, we have to understand what that pricing is. The firm from Maryland, which I don't think is in the running, I mean, all of their audits, they range from 300, the least expensive one was $327,000. And the most expensive one they did was $10 million. And I don't know that we can afford that. So we need to really do what we want to do. My question would be, do you want the staff to rank these, or are we all going to rank them and then interview them?
See, what
That's the question. That's the sort of, do we want the staff to rank them?
No, I wanted to rank them that.
You don't want the staff to rank them?
No, I want each individual commission to come up with their recommendation.
All right,
But
is that what
what
the commission wants to do? Does the commission want just us to rank them?
I guess so, because that's what you're looking at. We
Well,
can't,
because here's the thing, I'm not asking for us to choose an audit person. I'd like to set a date on, we'll have a decision, or you.
Commissioner, you called the meeting. Why don't you tell us what you want?
Yes.
What's your proposal?
Yes, I propose that by the next meeting, our next meeting, which is next week, we have you'll have an idea of who you want to select. You rank them, like, take the top 3, and we'll all take the top 3, and then we'll decide on maybe the following week, having a special meeting to have interviews on those 3, whoever we decide. But having said that, we give them notices, whoever we choose. Because my thing was giving them time to come and either, I guess, through Zoom, in person, however, make sure that we have all the right schedules, that we communicate that with the people that are potentially being hired.
Well, that's going to be after you get the rankings from the commissioners.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but by next meeting, we can have a discussion of saying, okay, I've ranked them. I know who I like. Maybe you should just pick the top 2, right? Whoever you think, and then we'll decide on maybe the top
one who
2.
gets
the
the
top
one-
2
Can we get a sample audit from these submitters? Can we request a sample of their work product that they've done for other cities or other agencies?
Yeah, yes, Commissioner. I mean, Mayor, sorry. We can certainly ask for a.
Well, I think if I had to rank them tonight based upon the responses, I've got a ranking of the top 3 of my top 3. I could rank all of them. But one of the things as I was going through this that I would like to see is a sample, performance review regarding the cities for each of, and that give you an idea of what this is, what the final product is going to actually look like. You know, I'd like to see that.
We will get that and email it out to everyone as soon as we receive it.
All right. Well, Commissioner, do you want to make that motion that the commission rank the proposals by the next meeting on the 15th? Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
So I just want to verify, so the staff is not gonna have any input whatsoever.
No.
Is that, do you think that's a good idea, Commissioner? That the staff not have any input in this? We don't have
Honestly, no,
finance,
I don't think,
anybody?
I don't think that's a good idea. I think we should, because ultimately, we're the ones gonna be making the decision. So I think that's important, and we can have our own individual rankings, but I think we have professionals that work here in the city. And I think it would be a good idea to get, Dan, I have a question though.
Yes,
If
sir.
you were to rank them, because I know this is different from like getting an engineering company and all that, how would you be ranking them? Or do you have like a set pattern, how everybody, and who would be ranking? them?
I would have our finance director and assistant finance director. And probably one of the assistant city managers rank them. Our finance director and assistant finance director were both CPAs.
You know why I think it's a problem? Is you're asking somebody to rank somebody who may potentially be coming and looking at their own department.
No, yeah, I get your point, but then ultimately the
But-
decisions are ours.
So I don't want even the perception of our staff going out and recruiting somebody or coaching somebody to say or do. I want you to be able to make your own informed decision on the packets that are being performed. All right, because if I feel like, oh man, they recruited that guy, or just, I don't know about that. I don't. And I'm gonna have him look into finance, or I'm gonna have him look into public works, or I'm gonna have him look at the police department, whatever the departments we're gonna do, decide. Then I would have an issue there because that's the person who oversees that department.
No, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, wouldn't it be a good idea just to get at least their, because remember, ultimately, like you said, we're the ones gonna make the decision either way. So I'm thinking it'd be a good idea just to have their input, at least so we can see it and whether we
How-
agree.
how
with
long
it.
is- how long is-
But if you see the packets.
How long
I
is
think they're
Danny
all
gonna be
qualified.
here? How long is Danny gonna be here?
To the end of the month. Well, he's got some vacation time, so he'll probably be here just shy of the end of the month before he leaves.
The staff is still gonna have input, really.
Right.
I mean, we're just ranking the top 2 or 3 or whatever. But then once we decide on who we're gonna hire, they're still gonna have input. It's not like we're gonna make the final decision on where you're gonna go and what you're gonna do. We're still gonna get input from them.
Well, the reason I was asking about our internal auditor who's resigned, he's still gonna be here through next week. Perhaps we could ask him to rank them. He works for us. He doesn't work for the city.
He works directly
manager,
for the
and he-
commission.
And he's directly, he's a direct report. And I mean, this is basically what he does. What these firms are proposing to do is what he has been doing over the last 5 years. Exact same thing. He's done dozens of departments
And
in
he
a
doesn't
super
work with.
professional manner, but
he
at
doesn't
any
work for the city
rate,
manager.
he would be the best, he would, I mean, I think, I just don't see what the harm would be to get his advice.
I have to agree with the mayor. I think we're still gonna come up with our rankings. And we're still gonna be the ones making the final decision. But I think at least we should maybe get like, maybe a list of what he would think or something things, just to, as a fallback, so we can look at that.
Maybe a list of recommendations.
Yes. But
That I
yeah,
can go in. That he could recommend the process, or because he understands it.
yes, because again, neither of us on the commission are an auditor. We don't, this is not what we do. This is like the mayor said, this is what he actually does. So I would value his input in this. So I think that would be a better thing to just get his input. Remember, he's providing the recommendations, providing input, but we don't have to take it.
Right.
Ultimately, it's our
I just
decision.
don't want to put the departments in that, that position. I don't.
Okay,
you know?
and then send plus an added benefit would be, Mr. Coyle is not gonna be here that much longer. Because he decided to resign, so this could be, something he does. And it won't affect him either way.
What we could do, commissioners, mayor, is get you the samples. Give these responses to Danny and have him review them and provide some input for the city council at the next meeting. And from there, the city commission can rank the respondents.
All right, will you accept that as an amendment to your motion?
Will do. Yes, sir.
All right, and Commissioner Puente, you
Yeah.
accept that
Second.
as a second, the amendment is the second, you accept this amendment. All right, we have a motion, a second to get some samples, have Danny review these. The commission review them also for ranking at the next meeting. That's the motion. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. All right, thank you all. We're done.